the commerce operating model, very interesting. Depends on what clients are doing and how they're adapting to commerce. I will say that there have been some changes from a sense of workflow potential. And so taking a little bit of a step back, we look at total commerce, right? And so we want to make sure that retail readiness, so like if your product is in stock, your shelf pages are up and running from a digital standpoint, are set up. We want to make sure that the right media is purchased, you're targeting the right audience, the right message is being created, content creative, and then also technology. And so what we were finding is that when we talk to our clients, there are 4 different teams that do those 4 different things, and they weren't talking to each other. So by us coming in and saying, well, what is happening on the retail readiness side, or what's happening on the technology side, and them trying to cross the dot, or cross the T's, dot the I's, so to speak, we're starting to see a lot of changes become out there in the world of operating models. So, for example, in the past, our clients have really had separated teams because of this. And what we're seeing is that they're either creating one team or creating work streams or even open lines of communication or even briefing us differently in order to really pull the thread through all of those different areas.
So as you streamline those threads through all those different areas, how do you get clients to embrace that change? How do you guide them through it?
It's hard. A lot of our clients need the proof of the pudding, which is something that if I was a client, I would want the same thing. And so from their standpoint, they want to make sure if I'm going to make this change, will it work? I think a lot of, I'll call it like almost like a rumor that is floating around, for lack of a better term, is that if you do sync up all of these different functions and put it on one team, that people lose their jobs, and that's just not the case. Everyone has different strength. It's more so about how could everyone work together to really push the ball forward. And so from our standpoint, what we're doing is really having conversations to show them the efficiencies of when you have a team that works together, how many less meetings you have from an operational standpoint, what are the touch points, actually what are the efficiencies from a media standpoint, and then ultimately from a conversion and what you're driving. And we've seen a lot of success. We've seen about like 600 hours saved on one given annual campaign, which was honestly surprising for everybody. And then we've also seen, clients take a little bit more of like a baby step, and they're starting to see incremental return when you are looking and thinking a little bit more holistically when you're talking about commerce, and then also how your organization is set up.
So as you've looked outward to helping clients embrace that change, has that also maybe changed operations within?
Yes, I would say not the way that we're set up. So we've always been set up integrated into all the different teams that are within IPG. And so, for example, we are at the first briefing with all of our brand teams, our planning teams, our strategy teams, investment team. Everyone allows us to have a seat at the table. I think what's different is now everyone's starting to talk the talk. And so when you are talking to the strategy team, they're actually incorporating retail media in what they're actually creating, versus in the past, I'd have to come in at the 9th hour and then they would say, okay, how do I make this retail media-y? And so from our standpoint, it's nice to be brought along and really intertwined. And I think that's what the difference is. And I think the more that we're loud and the more that we're vocal and we teach and educate our internal teams, the better we actually see the output.
So we're at Advertising Week, and I am contractually obligated, and you are contractually obligated to answer the inevitable AI question. So how does AI fit into all these changes? Is it practical at this point? Is it still are you still trying to figure it out? Where's AI here?
I'm going to say yes and no. So the yes perspective is really internal, in the sense of that everything that we used to do in the retail media space was manual. And so what AI is doing is it's allowing us to actually focus on the more strategic vision, or I'll call it more of the meatier tasks, and then the execution, trafficking, reporting, that kind of thing. It's allowing more of our staff to level up in a great way. And so it's taking the tools and having the tools talk to each other and creating that platform. I think the no, or the cautious no, would say that when we do talk to our clients, they are creating AI boards, or they have an AI panel, which you have to like go to the panel and actually talk to them about like what you want to do with AI. I think there's a lot of hand-holding in order to actually integrate AI with what they're doing. I think it's just a matter of time where it will be, but I think it's hard for everyone to take the first step. Because what we're saying is take the first step with AI, but then also have that human oversight, at least for now, until you're comfortable with whatever you're doing within the AI space. But it's easier said than done when you're having so many parties and so many different people at the company and so many opinions. So that's why I cautiously say no, but it's also on the horizon, and for like near future, I could see it rolling out. It's just going to be a little bit slower than we want to see it.